Hello, I'm Dr. Aaron Finn, optometrist for Mountain Comprehensive Health Corporation. We realize the importance of our eyesight each day when we see the beauty of Appalachia. At MCHC, we have same-day appointments and we take walk-ins. We make our glasses on-site and we offer all name brand frames. Also, Kentucky Medicaid expanded coverage to include adults, and with our sliding scale, you only pay based on your family size and income. When it comes to your eyesight, we don't want you to miss a thing. MCHC, providing better health for a longer life.
You know the drill with Wes Smith. Wes Smith, presented by MCHC.
All right, episode 2. Nate Sestina, guys. Nate, I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot believe they let me. I can't believe they're paying me for a second week to get on here and talk. It's unbelievable. But man, appreciate you being on the show with us today. We're excited.
I'm excited, and thank you for having me. It was a perfect little matchup with Brady. I'll give our guy a shout out. I'm excited to talk anything Kentucky basketball.
In case no one knows what he's talking about there, episode 1 we had Brady Kennedy, and Nate wasn't going to be on the show until he heard Brady, and he was like, man, with a high profile guest like Brady Kennedy on episode 1, I got to hop on while I can.
Oh man, I think I told Brady. I might have told him the opposite. I think that I said the bar was set so low for myself. I always got to give Brady a hard time. Brady and TJ Beisner were two of the guys that I could really get after, and they gave it right back to me when I was here.
That's great. That's Brady. So you got to love it. Nate, I want to just take a second to introduce you a little bit more. You know, obviously everybody knows Nate Sestina as Kentucky Wildcat, 2020-2021 season. And so anybody listening is going to know that. Obviously, you spent the majority of your college career at Bucknell before we got you in Lexington. Really glad that happened. And I want to talk about, you were kind of at the beginning of this graduate transfer thing, right? Not the main beginning, but I know that Cal wasn't entirely sold on the graduate transfer thing at first, and then things kind of worked out with Reed Travis, I think, and then obviously we all know why he was interested in you. You put up a hell of a season at Bucknell your senior year, second team All Patriot League, 53.6% from the field. Pretty obvious why, but tell us how did this all come about? How did you first realize that being a Kentucky Wildcat might be in the future for you?
I mean, my senior year, my freshman year of college at Bucknell, I tore my labrum in my shoulder. So I didn't really play a whole lot at the beginning of the year, being a young guy trying to figure out defensive schemes, help side, running plays, and instead of just getting the ball and playing and being the biggest guy on the court like I was in high school. But I tore my labrum in my shoulder, and I got surgery immediately. My season ended in December. Got surgery January 19th of 2016, and as unfortunate as the injury was, and as gruesome as it was and painful, it was ended up being the best thing for me because it taught me a big lesson in patience and, appreciating basketball and appreciating small things in life. Like even just being able to like brush your teeth and play video games, like moving your fingers and your wrist hurt my shoulder. Like it was bad. And I tore everything in there, like rotator cuff, labrum, posterior caps, all the ligaments, all that stuff. So I'll leave all that stuff out. But
yeah, you can spare us the gory details there.
It was just really unfortunate, and it kind of hurt, my pride, because I was like, man, I've never not played, and it ended up being an opportunity that granted me a medical red shirt. And in the Patriot League, it's really hard to get those red shirts and stay at that school unless you're kind of a part of that 5-year academic program, which I wasn't, which is like your engineering, business, economics. Most of the meds students will do dual degrees like biology, chemistry, where it takes 5 years to do both. And I was nowhere near that academically for to be able to do that. Like I was not an engineer. I ended up having an awesome degree in geography, a subject that I really enjoyed, but had a medical redshirt year. Sorry, I got off track.
Oh
Uh,
no. Oh, that's good.
and then my senior year, I remember going into my senior year, like my fourth year at Bucknell. I call it my senior year. Everybody says it was here, but um, I was at Bucknell that summer. I stayed with my buddy, my teammate Kimball McKenzie, and I was just like back and forth. The coaches were kind of opening the door, like, "Hey, would you want to stay? We'll try to figure out something academically. Maybe you can pick up another major." Uh, and I was really close to having um, like a education major if I wanted it, or religious studies was a minor of mine, and I think whatever it was. And I was just like, I don't know, like I didn't want to go to school for another year. Like Bucknell was hard. Like it is a difficult place to go to school, let
I
alone
can
be an
imagine.
athlete. And so I was like, man, I don't know. And then at the end of the summer, I just had this like epiphany where I was just like, I don't know. I'm gonna go back and forth. And I was just sitting down with Kimball. We were eating dinner, and I was like, dude, like, I don't want to. I was like, I'm just gonna lock it in this year. I'm gonna dominate. I'm gonna be a pro. Like, that's all I want to do. I want to make money. I want to be a pro. And he was like, all right, then there's your answer. And I had that conversation with our head coach, and he was just like, all right, like he was very stoic, kind of emotionless at the time. He was just like, okay, like whatever, like that's okay. And then John Griffin, who's the head coach of Bucknell now, I love him to death. He was on my butt about it, dude. He was like, just like my nickname was Sesty. He's like, Sesty, stay. Like, I will turn you into a monster. And I was just like, Griff, like, dude, I don't want to. And then I played really well. The second team all Patriot League thing, I'm 27 now, still bothers me because I was like, I don't brag about myself, but I was really like, I was like, man, I'm dominating this league. Me and Kimball
Yeah.
were two of the best guys in the league, I think. We were on the best team, us and Colgate. And there were a couple people in front of me that I was just like, man. And the day that we found out and I didn't make it, I was like, man, screw that. Like that. I think it was right before play. I think it was either after the season or right before playoffs. It was one of the two. And it kind of propelled me into this like, I need to go prove everybody wrong. And I'm still like that at 27. Like I'm going to my fifth year as a pro, and I'm like, I need to prove everybody wrong. Like, dude, I just need to play for myself, play for my family, and like this all kind of propelled itself into our season ended short. We lost to Colgate in the championship. It was our third straight championship appearance, and we lose at Colgate. Driving home, had a great game. Me and Kimball had a good game. Kimball McKenzie brought us back in that game. I fouled out on a it's disgusting. Just like I can't even talk about it. It just still bothers me. Uh I fouled out. I checked out of the game. I'm just covering my head with the towel. And I was just like, dude, I'm done. Like this is it. I get in the locker room. My brother Andrew, who's like my best friend in the world, he texted me and was like, dude, hell of a career. You know, I'm very proud of you. Like we'll tackle what's next together. And he's always like my confidant. I go to him for a lot of stuff, especially, you know, being a
Yeah.
young man trying to figure things out. And I was talking to him and he was just like, do you feel like you are ready to be a pro? And I was like, I don't know. And I was 265 pounds. Like I'm a big, clunky, very below the rim, not very mobile, but I got really weird buckets. I was like surprisingly athletic, but not how I am now. It's weird. And I had a conversation with Joe Meehan, who was my assistant coach at Bucknell, and I was like, I think I want to enter the portal. And he was like, okay, like before you do that, let's talk to people we know, gauge, you know, what kind of schools we could talk to. We knew people at VCU, like Mike Rhodes, knew Jay Wright at Villanova. He's a Bucknell guy. So we kind of talked with them and really got good feedback. And uh, so I was like, okay, like my numbers are good, whatever. Like, and everybody said the same thing, like, you got to lose weight, you got to get quicker. And I entered the portal and it was mayhem. And it just, my assistant coach Joe Meehan was really good. He coached Brad Calipari on like a overseas like mission,
Yeah.
not mission trip, but like the mission, I guess a mission trip, like a goodwill trip where you go, you do a bunch of stuff in the communities overseas.
Yeah.
And so he's like, dude, I'll just reach out to Coach Cal and just see what he says. And I was like, shut up, dude. Like, don't mess with me like that. Cause like I had heard from some ACC schools and I was like, Syracuse was probably one of the coolest phone calls early that I got. Jerry McNamara called me, and I was like, dude, I had a Jerry McNamara jersey growing up.
Yeah.
And it was number 3. I don't think there was a name on it because I don't know if you were allowed back then, but it was, I was like, I think it was number 3. My brother Andrew had it, whatever. And I get a call from Coach Meehan later that day, and he's like breathing heavy. He's like, dude, like, I just got the phone with John Calipari. And I was like, oh, like, I was like, dude, you good? And he's like, dude, I just got the phone with Coach Cal. Like, he's going to call you tomorrow. He loves you. And I was like, oh. And I'm sitting in my senior apartment with my teammates, like, I think we were playing Fortnite or something. And he was just like, dude, like, be prepared for a phone call. And when Cal called me, I was just like, it was so surreal. I muted myself, and I was like, it's John Calipari.
Yeah. Are you kind of like, are you wondering, like, is this happening right now? Like, I thought he may have been like joking at first when he said I was going to call, right?
It was the weirdest thing because I was just like, man, am I really in like that good of a position in this grad transfer thing? Like, and at the time, this was like the coolest thing for me at the time. ESPN had like ranked, my dad loved it. My dad was like, oh my God. I was like the number one ranked grad transfer for like 2 weeks. And then Kerry Blackshear Jr. took over. Heck of a player too. And I had I mean, he's a great pro too, but
great company to be with.
It really was. And I was like, man, like, and when Cal was like, no, like, I need to get you on campus. I need you to see what we're about, blah, 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 blah. I ended that phone call, and I immediately called my brother Andrew, and I was like, dude, I just got the phone with John Calipari. My brother was a Marine at the time. And he was yelling at somebody, like, he picked me up, he's like, what's up? And then he was like, oh, whatever, like, whatever he was saying to this guy. He's like, yo, my bad. I was like, dude, I just talked with Coach Cal. And he was like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, dude. And then I called my 3 teammates, Kimball, Matt, and Nate, like my best friends on the team. I was like, I just got called by John Calipari. And they were like, oh, like this is, and it just blossomed from there. And it was a match made in heaven. Like, I came here on my visit and I met with them, and I met him for the first time. Like, his persona is just so, like, he's such a larger than life figure. And when I just met with him one-on-one, he just was the most down-to-earth guy. He's like, dude, we come from very similar humble beginnings in Pennsylvania. Like, you understand what it means being a small-town guy. Like, he's like, this could be a match made in heaven if you really want it to be. He's like, we really want you, whatever. And I went home, I talked to my parents, or I went back to the hotel, talked to my parents. I was like, this is a no-brainer. If I don't come here, like, that'll be a big mistake, I think. And I was ready to tell him the next day.
You wanted to be a pro, right?
I wanted to be a pro more than anything. And that's what I told.
This is the guy that does it.
This is the guy, truly, I think the guy that does it is Kenny Payne. With Coach, like, they are the perfect mixture. And I'm not taking anything away from Coach Cal. Kenny Payne does all the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He runs you into the ground. He works you out. And then Coach Cal just has that freaking platform and that, like I said, that larger-than-life persona that he could.
Yeah.
The phone call, it's one phone call, and he's like, I can help you in any way, but you have to help yourself first. And that is what, but that's what made me come here, because I was like, I wanted to be a pro. And KP's like, are you willing to die for mom and dad to have the things that you want them to have? And I was like, yeah, like, go up Marines, dude, I'm not worried. And he's like, no, like, if I were to kill you, you were to run that treadmill and die, would you be okay that knowing that mom and dad are taken care of because of this game of basketball? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, we'll see. And that, I was like, I remember, I'm getting goosebumps. I was sitting in the film room, in the locker room, and he just points at me. He's like, we'll see. And on senior night that weekend, when my parents were here, KP gave them the thumbs up on me and was like, he earned everything, and he lived up to everything that he said back in March or April of 2019.
Amazing.
And for me, like, that's all I cared about, dude. I wanted Cal's approval, and I wanted KP's approval so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost 35 pounds that summer, and I was like, dude, I was like, man, that, like, in my head, I'm like, it's not enough, man. Like, I'm freaking, I left the whole person over there.
Yeah.
And KP's like, it's not, like, it's never enough. Like, until you retire from basketball, it'll never be enough. And that's how I am now, man. Like, I live in Lexington with Madison, my fiance, who was an amazing volleyball player. And like, but I still walk in that gym, and I'm like, dude, nobody knows how hard it was to be here other than myself and Rob
Yeah.
Harris, my strength coach, which
Yeah.
freaking love Rob. But
Oh,
like,
absolutely. Yeah.
unbelievable, like just and Brady too. Like Brady, I remember one time I was in the gym by myself, walking on the treadmill, and I had really started to lose weight, and Brady was just like, "Dude, you look like a totally different person." And I was just like, "Dude, I'm like 20 pounds lighter." He's like, "Wow."
Yeah.
And then I got down. I was 266 or something, and I got down to 234 at the end of the summer. And I've been 234, 235 literally since then, like my entire professional career.
That's unbelievable. You've got me motivated with that story. I'm pretty sure I might enter my name in the portal now. I think I could
I
really play
love
at
it.
this point. You've got me motivated. No, that's amazing though. I can't imagine, you having this goal. I think I do want to be a pro. And then,
Yeah.
as you said, you get the call from a staff, KP and John Calipari. Was Coach O there at the time? Was Antigua there at the time?
No,
He had
he
already
had
left, right?
he had left, and I think he was at USF
Yeah, yeah,
at the time. And then like a year or two later, he went to Illinois.
yeah.
I think Illinois.
That's I got a call from Coach Cal one time. I was walking in the Seton Center on campus working a camp, and I got a call from Coach Cal. He said, "Hey, are you working camp?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Will you run this down to Mark Edwards real quick?" I think that was the a little bit different than your call, but it's similar.
Similar. I got those calls with Coach Cal as well. The quick ones. Yeah, that's funny. He said,
No,
"Hey, you." Oh man.
no, I enjoyed it, man. And that's one of the. I think when Brady first introduced you and I together, he mentioned working camps. And I'm sure being around the Big Blue Nation and all these guys, that staff, being in Lexington, you understand. Being in that gym is something special. Being around the program is something special. So, true honor to me. And um, people can say this about John Calipari, say that about John Calipari. I will tell you, of all universities I've ever worked a summer camp for, I always write a letter to the coaches just saying, "Hey, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your program, to do this." And he is the only one to ever write a letter back, and it was handwritten. So,
Wow.
yeah, says a lot to me for that. So,
Yeah, I agree. That's I said this the other day too. People can say what they want and everybody has their own opinions, and I'm never gonna say, your opinion's wrong or this, but like you can't take away what he's done for people and what he does for people on and off the court. I don't like you could have your own personal relationship and your own view of him, but like for what he's done for me and like what I've been able to do for me and my family, just because I came here and put my nose down and grinded for 12 months, like drastically changed the trajectory of my professional career. And I mean, that's just something I'm never, ever, ever gonna
sure,
like. I'm not gonna let anybody discredit that from him because like however
yeah,
many billions of dollars he has in contract for his guys in the NBA, all of his guys that are overseas are unbelievable pros.
yeah, yeah.
So that's sorry, needed to throw that in there.
No, no, no. That's great. That's great. I completely agree with you. That's powerful there. I do want to say I heard a story from another former staffer, and I want to run this by you to make sure that it is legit because this really stuck out to me when I heard this, and I was like, "Wow, this is true. This is great." So you mentioned a couple people, and maybe it's one of those. So this all happens. You're in the portal. You're reaching out to schools. When you first go to visit Lexington, I was told that you had an assistant coach from Bucknell accompany you on this trip. Is that true?
Yeah, Joe Meehan, the guy
Yeah,
who had reached out to Coach Cal, and at the time, it was an NCAA violation for Kentucky to pay for him to come, so he did it on his own tab.
amazing.
Paid for himself, paid for flight and all that stuff. Um,
To
and
me,
it
that
was
says a
just
lot.
And that's I talk to Coach Meehan pretty frequently. I don't want to say every day because that's not the like whatever. We have a little Snapchat streak, and he's a 30-something-year-old man. I'm 27, but he'll just be like he'll message me on certain things throughout the year. Like he'll be like, watch your game, like thought this, and it's like I built that relationship because he was the director of basketball operations when I was hurt. So he wasn't allowed on the court. So I spent 5 months just sitting there talking to him, and we just have an amazing relationship. And he came here and he visited, and he wanted to do that with me and just talk me through, because he was like, don't let the bright lights and all the flashy stuff like get to you. Like, we are here to do this. This is what you want, and I'm gonna help you like facilitate that. And he's one of the most important coaches I've had in my basketball career. And I definitely am very, very thankful that he came with me on the visit.
I wish, that's great just to hear that. I coached basketball for 14 years, high school, collegiate level, NAIA, and that's why you do it. Here is a player of his in you that obviously for Bucknell to keep would be unbelievable, especially with the season you just put together. You'd spent your entire collegiate career there. You were part of the team, but he is willing to do whatever it takes to get you what you want and what you feel is best for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, and he's just a great guy. Like I said, on and off the court. And it was on the court, like he just helped me so much. Like we would talk, like I'd be working out and he would be like in help side defense. He's like, okay, this is how, like when we played Boston University, he's like, okay, this is how Boston's big man's gonna be. The other big, like not the guy guarding you. He's like, so when you make your move, like, and this guy come, like it was just little stuff that just helped me really just understand the game. And then Coach Griffin, John Griffin, the head coach now, like, he would put me through the most ridiculous like workouts. What I thought was the most ridiculous. So I got here with Kenny Payne, and Jonathan Brown, who was he was our director of basketball operations my junior and no, my junior and senior year, I think, maybe sophomore, junior, whatever. He would put me through, like he couldn't be on a court with you, so he would just like pull you off to the side and you just talk to me like, this is what we're gonna do, and he would like coach you from the sidelines. Like, I can't be on the court, but I'm gonna. Like, I want to help you. Yeah. And like that staff is just, man, some of the best people that you could ask to be coached by. And being an 18-year-old kid, you're super impressionable. And like I'm 27 now. It's almost 10 years I've been out, since my freshman year of college, and like I still have a great relationship with all three of them.
So fast forward to Kentucky and your time in Lexington. By the way, I hadn't put much thought into that, but since you said it, I'm a little bit pissed off now at the Patriot League for this second team All Patriot League. I'm sitting here looking, and you scored double figures in 27 games your senior year at Bucknell.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, against Holy Cross, 32 points. You broke the school record for most field goals without a miss, 11 for 11.
And I broke my nose.
And you broke your nose.
Yeah.
And that earns second team All Patriot. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Not throwing off against anyone, but obviously I was under a rock because I don't remember that many absolute studs in the Patriot League. Thank you.
I appreciate that. No, it bothered me so much. It ate at me because I hadn't even started a game until my senior year. And I remember I was in our apartment with Kimball McKenzie, and I was like, Kim, like, I want to be first team. I'm gunning for league MVP. Like, I was like, nobody's expecting it from me. I said, I've never had the opportunity to, like, when I did have like a little bit of time, like I would crush it in my minutes that I had the year before. And he was just like, success, like everybody on our team knows like what it's about when you're on the court. Like, you just need that opportunity. And that has just been the story of my career, even as a pro. Like I've had some ups and downs, and playing time and my role. I was curious what my role was, and I was trying to figure all this out, and it just ended up like it all kind of stems back to Bucknell and this like under the radar, just being able to take full advantage of like the opportunity that's given to me. And I'm just I was like, dude, I'm gunning for first team all league. I want to be league MVP. I want to win a conference championship, be conference champion MVP, like the tournament MVP. And he was like, and Kimball's one of the most competitive. He's like, what about me? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'll go against you. I don't care. And he, to this day, he's one of my best friends. And I remember distinctly, I was driving back in my car, back to campus, and I look at my phone. It was a tweet. I tweeted all the awards out, and I wasn't on first team. And I called him. I was crying a little bit. I'm like, man, this, like, that is garbage. Like, and I get back to our apartment, and he's like, okay. He's like, now you know what it is. Like, this is right before, this is right after the season. That's what it was. Because I was like, all right, I'm putting my name in the portal. Like, I'm gonna go prove every single person wrong. And I didn't think that I was gonna end up at Kentucky, but I was pumped. I was hearing from some of these ACC schools. I was like, let's go,
Right.
man. Like, when Coach Cal called, I almost committed on the phone. I was like, I don't even need to see campus, dude. Like, man.
To all of you young people listening, let that be a lesson. You're upset about second team All Patriot League. So instead of letting that get you down, you went out, you did something about it. It motivated you. You proved yourself. That is what you need to hear right there. That's great. You did. You said this a minute ago, and I was a little bit disappointed when you said this. You were talking about how difficult of a school Bucknell was academically.
Yeah.
But dude, you added. I don't believe that. You get to Kentucky and your first year academic honor roll member.
I think Bucknell helped me there, man. It was so like, it wasn't that it was easy. It just school came easy to me at this point now. Like, I had been grinding for 4 years. So when I get here, and we didn't have the same resources, like we didn't have Cats, we didn't have Michael Stone, who was on everybody's but he was on everybody's ass about everything. Like, it was just like, go to your tutor, go to class. And I was like, Stone, I got class like 1 or 2 days a week, dude. Everything else online. Like, you don't need to tell me to go to class. Like, it's 3 hours out of my week that I'll go. And I remember I had like a summer class, and I had statistics, and I hate math, dude. Like, I get really anxious about it, whatever. He's like, I'll get you a tutor. I said, okay, I'll go to it. Dude, he slapped his tutor on my schedule at like 8 in the morning. I'm like, dude, Stone, I'm up early. I understand that. But like bump it back. So he's like, I'll move it back to 9. Just like, all right. That was the only tutor I had, because I was like, dude, I don't like, he had a tutor for every class that I was in. I was like, dude, I don't need anybody except for this math guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. And then like Dr. Parker, I don't know if he's still there. I think he retired. He was the head of the KHP program. Steve Parker. He was an old football player here. Amazing guy. On my visit, he was just like, this is gonna be the perfect thing for you. And he is like, I broke my wrist. I missed class. I was like, hey, like, I'm gonna miss the final. Like, can I make it up? He's like, yeah. He's like, listen, take a couple days, come back. Like, you'll be good. And I was like, all right. And he's like, you got to do it before this date. I was like, okay, like, I can do that. Whatever. I got surgery on my wrist. A couple days later, I was like, hey, I'm ready for the test. Like, I was like, I have no idea if I'm going to do well. I ended up getting like a 98 or something on it. He's like, what is this? You don't know if you're going to do well. But it was all material that I think just registered with me and like really resonated with me too. Like, it registered in my brain that like I understood this stuff, and I was good at it, and it was easy.
Yeah.
So I really liked that program. And I was just like, man, I always tell everybody, I might not have athletic honor roll. I said, but I got that academic honor roll.
Now, remind me, while we're on the topic of Kentucky and school and all that, remind me, your season, what was the last game you guys played that season?
Florida. We came back and won.
18 points down, right?
Yeah. And Emmanuel quickly fouled out early.
Yeah.
And I think Tyrese, it was either Tyrese or Johnny Juzang and Keon Brooks hadn't been playing a whole lot, and Tyrese really played well. And then those two came in and played unbelievable ball. And then EJ had to tip in at the end.
Yes.
Because we kind of went big. Because it was me, EJ, and Nick a little bit on the court at the same time. and then Cal kind of filtered us in and out, and then EJ had that tip at the end. That was the most. I think that was the most minutes I played the entire year. I was dog tired, and I had like 8 points or something, and I was like, dude, I'm having a great game. And then I'm like, oh my god, Johnny Juzang had oh, what was he had like back-to-back double digit games where he was playing really, really well at the end of the year. That's why I was like, dude, it's disgusting that we didn't get to play an NCAA tournament. I'm still upset about it, but
Tell us a little bit about that. How does it feel? You know, by talking to you at this point, I feel like it was a dream come true for you to play at a program like Kentucky to
yeah,
follow your dream. So tell me what that means to make it there and be on this team that was just absolutely incredible. And you won the regular season SEC championship that
we
year.
did. I
How
think
did that
by a
feel to
couple
not?
games too.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to not
I
play in the tournament.
I feel bad. I keep cutting you off because it just
No, no.
oh it it sucks because it's for me it's like one of the biggest what ifs of my life, but like of
Yeah.
my basketball career. Like, for me, a couple what ifs, like what if I would have stayed with this team, or what like professionally, like what if I would have never entered the transfer portal? Like you can play the what if game a lot, but this is the one that just bothers me because it's like we were really clicking as a team. We were really playing
Mhm.
well. We were having amazing like the hardest part about college basketball in March is having focused practices. It's a long season. And then as a pro, like, dude, March is like when you start to lose guys a little bit mentally because it's like, I mean, you're in this thing for so long. You've been dialed in for since August. And it's like in college, it's the same way where your attention span's a little bit smaller. You're not as mature. You don't understand what's at stake. You just love playing. Where like as a pro, it's like, dude, I gotta freaking lock in. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I put food on the table, keep the lights on, whatever have it, whatever have you. This is one of these things that as a veteran guy who had been there in March, I played in the NCAA tournament twice. Like I was in the conference championship 3 years in a row. Like we didn't need to win the SEC tournament to make it, which I had to do at Bucknell. But I was like, these games matter. Like the stakes, the intensity, the level of focus, the level of like energy you need to have. You need to all be dialed in. So when you come in the game, there's no like if Emmanuel subs out and Johnny subs in, there can't be like obviously they're different players, but there can't be a drastic difference in energy and effort. And like that's what I
Yeah.
was preaching from a veteran standpoint. And Cal was like, I need you all to lock it in and do the same thing. And we were peaking. I think we lost to Auburn in the middle of the year, and we won like 9 in a row or 10 in a row, and then we fucking lose to Tennessee at home on senior day.
Yeah.
Disgusting loss.
Yep.
John Fulkerson had an amazing game. Good for him. Hopefully he's doing well. But as a college player, I wanted to knock him out because I'm like, damn it, dude! Like this is my last game at Rep, and you had a career game. So good for him. Happy for him.
Yeah.
That good, but oh, it's disgusting. But I think it's in like that loss kind of shocked us. It's like okay, like this is a SEC tournament. This is an SEC tournament game.
Mhm.
You lose out, you're out of the SEC tournament, and clearly it's kind of been the more or what's been going on the last couple of years, whatever the case is. I think our team was just like Emmanuel and Tyrese were just playing out of their mind. Ashton was playing really, really well.
Mhm.
We're doing what we needed him to do. Nick Richards was having a freaking phenomenal year. EJ
Yep.
was really coming into his own. Keon was figuring it out. Johnny Juzang was figuring it out. I mean, Johnny went on to have a hell of a college career. Same with Keon. Like these guys
Yeah.
are, and they're going to be
Yeah.
great pro. Johnny is a great pro. Keon's going to be a great pro. Like we said, a team full of guys that was ready to go and ready for it. And we're in Nashville. Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, and the NBA shut down. And then we were like, dude, there's no way we have it. And then we go for shoot around the next day, have shoot around, go back to the hotel. Everybody, showers and changes. Canceled. Bus back to Lexington. On the bus back, it like was official.
Mhm.
And Cal just came up to me, and I was devastated, dude. I was just sitting on the bus crying, and he just gives me a hug, and he's like, "I'm gonna figure something out for you." And I was like, "Okay." Like and he's just like, give me some time. And he called me like I think it was like the next day. He just called me into his office and was just like, like, dude, it's over. Like, we can't do anything. They're not going to give you guys any eligibility. He's like, would you want to stay? Like, hell yeah, I want to stay. Like, I want to play in the NCAA
What
tournament.
kind
That's
of
why I
questions
came here.
that? Yeah.
And and of course they give everybody, every kid. You got 28-year-old kids in college now. It's
Yeah. Yeah. That I
so
hurt for
yes.
you there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and looking back on it, you're still in Lexington, and I want you to know that we appreciate your love for Lexington. I understand that you have a beautiful fiance who is also a Kentucky Wildcat legend here in Lexington, but I like
She
to think
sure
she's
is.
not the only reason you're here. You're here because you love the BB and you
Oh, I
love
do.
Lexington.
I do. And we have, we have a little apartment, and it's just we've really built it into like it feels like home. We've been Airbnb and stuff, and it's just like you just never
Yeah.
have that home feeling, and like being in Lexington with our own place and our own stuff, and like it just really clicks, and it was a big reason why we wanted to stay. And I ended up working out. It ended up working out where like I have a great basketball trainer in Justin Taylor, and he
Hmm.
works with all ages. And I met with him for the first time through Rob Harris last summer,
Hmm.
and JT has just been phenomenal for me. Like we break the game down, we break down the moves that we're doing, the certain things that we're doing, and then we put it all into play. And it's just this 4 days a week. And on Wednesdays, I go into Joe Craft and I just shoot on the shooting gun and just really just get up reps. So we have this awesome balance. And I work with Ted Butler at Operation Athlete, strength and conditioning. Ted is a stud. Anybody that wants to work out with him, go do it. Please. Changed my athleticism and my trajectory last year, like skill, like athleticism wise, my body. I feel great. So I'm working out with Ted again this summer. Um, but no, Lexington is it's a special place, and it's just one of those college towns that like there's no pro sports in the state of Kentucky, and like
Yep.
Kentucky is a pro sport, and I don't want to say it, but like Louisville is too, and you have two monster cities that just are freaking bitter rivals, and it's just you can't beat that. And I think that's
Oh
what
yeah.
makes the state of Kentucky so special. And I think that's what makes Lexington so special is no matter where you go, you see UK something, or if you see somebody with a Louisville shirt, everybody's dogging them. You got like old people, like you got grandmas, like in Whole Foods over here. This guy had a Louisville shirt on, and she's like, "Yeah, L's down," like 85 years old. And I'm like, dude, this is what makes this place so awesome.
Well, and I feel like you have all those rivalries, like you said, two cities an hour apart, Lexington, Louisville, and then you've got,
Yeah,
the Tennessee rivalry, the Florida rivalry. Almost everything feels like a rivalry,
for
but
sure.
no, man, we appreciate the love for Lexington. I do want to ask you about one of your favorite memories. However, I am a little bit disappointed that you stay in Lexington too long, and Coach Mark Pope's going to be calling you up because you didn't talk enough about you shot over 40% from the 3-point range, and you talked about some of those weird buckets you used to get before you dropped the weight, all that, but that was part of it, and you got to talk about that more, man. Listen, when I was in high school, I shot 2 for 3 from 3-point range, and I do not let that go. I rub that in all the time. So you got to talk about that 40% as much as you can. But
Yeah.
uh, you talked about that feel in Lexington. What is your favorite memory as a Wildcat? And it doesn't have to be basketball, but
Oh man. I think it's kind of related to basketball, but it was when we were working at camp. One of this little kid, I was still a little pudgy at the time. I think it was like my first week here, maybe or whenever we started camp, like our second week here in June. That's when camp is crazy here. And I'm sitting here and I'm, you know, talking, and we had just introduced Coach Cal introduced everybody, and we're standing there, and this little kid comes up to me and he was like, "Hey, hey, coach." And I was thinking he was calling me coach, like,
camp,
like,
yeah.
yeah. He's like, "Where's that grad transfer that just, that the new guy?" He's like, he was at another college and he came here. And I was looking around, and me and Brennan Canada looked pretty similar. I was like, "Oh, he's over there, that guy right there." He was like, "All right, thanks." And he ran over to him and he was like, "Hey, what?" And Brennan's like, "Oh, my name's Brennan Canada." And kid looks back at me and Brennan's like pointing at me like, you idiot. Like, so that was one of my
Oh,
favorite memories. And then I think basketball wise, man, I'm trying. When
is
we
there?
beat Auburn at home, that was one of my favorite Lexington moments. I had a couple of family friends in town, and they got to watch. Like, I had a pretty solid game. I think I had like 8 points or something like that. Couple
You,
rebounds. I think I had 2 blocks. I think showing off the
yeah,
athleticism.
yeah.
You
Quit
know, and
downplaying yourself. You had 11 points that game, Nate.
I had 11. Oh shoot,
You had
those
11.
games are few and far between. But
Yeah.
you make a joke about the 40% thing. I've actually shot 40%, except for the G League. I've shot 40% everywhere I've been from three as a pro. And
Yeah.
that's something that I pride myself on, is just being able to, put the ball in the hoop from behind the arc. But it all stemmed from here. And uh the Auburn game was big time for me. Or the Ole Miss game. I had my brother Andrew, who's like my best friend, and then we had he's actually now my financial advisor, Benny. He was in town with his dad, and then a good friend of mine and his wife, Scott and Kessa Roberts. They had come and watched me play. Kessa was my high school psychologist, so we've remained really good friends, and they came and watched the Ole Miss game. And I think I needed like 8 points, or I needed 10 points or something, and I had eight to get 1,000 points, and I missed it by 2 points. And then my first bucket against LSU the next game was a freaking alley-oop layup from Ashton, and I got my 1,000 points in college.
I think you got that. You got that 1,000th point at LSU. Is that right? Yep.
Yep, on a alley-oop layup from Ashton.
Yep. Yep. I can remember watching that game. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. I don't know if you can tell, probably not from the Zoom that we're on, but I really like to eat, Nate. So I've got to find out too, what is your favorite Lexington restaurant? Where do you
Oh,
take the fiance to for a really nice dinner?
oh man. See, she's not the biggest red meat fan. So she's a
Okay.
big chicken salmon fan. Dude, I'll eat steak every day. Man, I'll
Same.
go Jeff Ruby's, I'll go Tony's. Uh, those are two of my favorites for sure. But if I'm,
That New York strip at Tony's is hard to beat.
oh, dude, man, and I'm a I've become a giant ribeye guy. That little bit of fat on there, if it's, all right, I'm starving now. But if I'm taking Mads somewhere for dinner, her favorite place is Cordelima.
Good
Big
pick.
fan of
Good pick.
Cordelima. Great margaritas,
Yeah.
great queso. Um, but a good sit down place, man. I might go Tony's. Atmosphere's good. That, like, kind of dim. It's nice. The bar there is fantastic. Um,
Really
we
good.
actually
Great choice.
Great. It really is. And they take good care of you. They have great selections. Um, if I'm going quick, I'm going local taco every time.
Ah,
I'm a big it was right next to the lodge, and when I had lost all that weight and they were like, "Hey, you're good to eat," and like that was like every like Saturday afternoon, I would just go there. I get a buffalo chicken quesadilla. It comes with that like kind of weird cucumbery ranch. I don't even know what it is. It's delicious. And then I would get brisket tacos.
see, that's why you're just meant for Lexington. Great
I
basketball player,
agree.
phenomenal basketball player, good taste in food.
I appreciate it.
Um,
What's your go-to restaurant? You're a Tony's
man,
guy. Oh,
I'm a Tony's guy. I'm not as much of a ribeye guy, but I like the New York strip.
yeah.
Uh, but I don't know if surely you've had it. If my wife looked at me and said, "What dinner do you want on your birthday?" I would maybe go with Giuseppe's. Have you been to Giuseppe's?
No, I've not.
Oh, you got to try it. If you
Uh-oh.
Italian, it's out close to Fritz Farm.
Okay. Giuseppe's.
It's kind of
Dude,
hidden.
I don't know. I don't know if I have. I'm not going to speak on it. I don't want to I don't know if I have. When Madison comes back from working out, I'll ask her because I've missed out on everything. I missed out on Derby. I missed out on Keeneland.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I didn't get to do any of this stuff when I was here because of COVID, and then I haven't
COVID.
been able to because I've been playing.
Yeah,
Oh, dude. All right. Italian.
yeah.
I'm a big
Look it up.
Italian guy.
Yep, yep. Oh well, you're gonna love it. Yep. Go get you a glass of wine. Get some of the gnocchi.
Also, I see that you're speaking my language. Those are two of my favorite things. J. Alexander's carrot cake is
Huh.
that's well because we go over and get a slice, get 2 slices and some coffee and just go for dessert.
That sounds really good. And that took me off guard. I did not think carrot cake from J. Alexander. So I'll make you a deal. You take Matt out to Giuseppe's.
Okay.
And I'll take my wife out to J. Alexander and get a piece of carrot cake. Try it out.
Okay. And you got to get a cup of decaf coffee. Have you ever been to Giuseppe's? Yeah. Have I ever been there? You have. That's not fair. That's not fair. She has. She's been there.
So she knows. So you'll have to let her take. Now, she better not, when you get off here, she better not tell you that it sucks or that it's terrible or
no, I think she's a big Italian fan. So
okay,
I think
good.
Yeah. What's the name of the place we went to last year? It's over by Malone's. The American. That was a hidden gem for me last year. Never been there until last year.
Did you get the fried chicken?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you got to get the fried chicken at Merrick.
Oh, all right, but it gives me a reason to go back.
It gives you a reason to go back. Oh, Nate, I appreciate you being on the show, man. Great news. In Brady's episode 1, I was begging for someone to sponsor the show. I mean, I threw out some ideas. I threw out like maybe Four Roses, maybe Knob Creek come sponsor the show. That didn't work out. I thought that would be great, but that didn't work out. I did get MCHC, Mountain Comprehension Care in Eastern Kentucky. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Great people over there. Make sure you go check them out. 9 locations across Eastern Kentucky. But Nate, I tell you what, we'll keep working on the bourbon sponsor, and maybe I can get you back on the show.
That'd be great. I'm always available for it.
Nate, thank you so much for being on here with us. You know the drill with Wes Smith, sponsored by MCHC. Man, we love you. Thanks for being on. And good luck. Good luck going back home for the 4th, man. Enjoy your family.
Thank you very much. Absolutely. You guys have a great 4th as well. Be safe and enjoy some good food.
All right, same to you. Nate Sestina.